My 24 male, wife 25 of 5 years, has a sister, 20. She's somewhat disabled, and while this may sound contradictory, she has a condition that makes working difficult, but not entirely impossible, unless she's under stress. It's a neurological condition, loses muscle control, makes her hit or throw stuff, fall over. I have no problem with her sister. She's sweet and nice to have around, and my wife loves her more than anything. She basically raised her and stepped in when her parents wouldn't or couldn't. This has led to a relationship closer to mother-daughter. My wife would constantly be paying for stuff for her sister, and this made sense to me when she was a minor and was doing much worse, health-wise. Recently, though, this has increasingly been getting under my skin. I'm the sole provider for my household right now, since my wife was pregnant and only gave birth recently. We'd spend a lot to buy her sister holiday gifts, but she would never return the favor, even with something cheap with thought or no thought put into them. We'd always take her out to events or dinners and pay for her every time. She would never even pick up the bill for herself. Again, it wasn't entirely an issue until she became an adult, and now I'm fed up with it. She expects me to pay for her sister, to go to the doctor, or her sister invites us out to lunch and then expects us to pay. Sister doesn't even schedule her own appointments. My wife takes her wherever she asks, even if she has the ability to do it herself, and we live 45 minutes away. She talks about how she's freelancing and is making money. Still, she has no money whenever she needs or wants anything. I did not have an issue with this either, really. I thought my wife was being a pushover, but it's ultimately her money until recently. Now she's spending my money on her, and it's really getting me angry. I want to spend my money on my daughter, but we're spending money on this financially irresponsible leech. I explained this to my wife in a much nicer way, but we ended up in a fight where I called her sister some pretty messed up things. I ended the conversation by telling her I would take away her access to our joint bank account until she contributes again if she doesn't tell her sister to grow up and that she's not her mother and she's no longer a child. She cannot be dependent on people forever. I think it's an important lesson for her to learn. If she doesn't learn it, she can get back to work and continue supporting her until she's 40 with her own money, not mine. She honestly thinks this is an end-of-the-world situation. I think it's quite clear this is for the better. I think she's scared of hurting her sister, but at this point, she's crippling her by allowing her to do nothing. Edit. I also understand my wife being a homemaker means she's putting in equal work, so my money's her money. But we're on a single income, and we can barely afford our family's needs. I can't give her half my salary, so she can spend half of that on her sister. A majority of it goes to keeping us paycheck to paycheck right now. I guess looking after their newborn baby or healing from giving birth to that baby is not considered contributing in your eyes. Oh dear, her spending privileges? You are the idiot. Check yourself, OP. Also, the sister that is somewhat disabled, but not entirely impossible to work, as long as she isn't under stress, when she literally loses physical control and can hurt herself, is someone you have no problem with and find nice and sweet, yet a few paragraphs later is suddenly a financially irresponsible leech. Did anyone else get whiplash from this change in tone? Honestly, forget about the disabled sister, who your wife has as a dependent since before you were married. You had an argument with your wife, who recently gave birth. You threatened to cut her off your joint finances if she didn't do what you wanted, or she starts contributing again. She isn't contributing because she was pregnant with your child and is now post-labor caring for it. Please calculate how much this child care would cost 24/7 for the period since your child was born until the child was, let's say, 2. Can you afford to pay this out of pocket? Because this is what your wife is contributing right now to your household. If the wife was gambling the money, would restricting it be financial abuse? Or if she was a shopaholic? She's putting the family at risk with her spending habits, and she, her husband, and her child are suffering. Who's the one guilty of financial abuse? Not the husband. Not the idiot. Your wife's sister is abusing her disability, and I hate when people play the sick card and don't take responsibility for their life. Your wife needs to understand that she can guide her sister but not be a mother because it won't help anyone. Your wife needs to grow a backbone. I, female 35, have shared custody of my daughter, Grace, pre-tween, with my ex, 37 male. Grace loves The Little Mermaid and has wanted to dye her hair red since she was about 5. My ex said no, she was too young, and at the time I agreed, and it never came up again. She and her friends went to see the film for her friend's birthday when it was released. She got really interested in Ariel all over again and started asking about getting her hair colored red again. My ex again said no, but I told him that we could let her use temporary hair dye, which will wash out in about 10 washes, so around 5 weeks, and compromised on the shade of red Ariel wears in the film. That's ginger and not bright red, and he agreed to this. Grace has very fair platinum blonde hair, inherited from me, while my ex has dark brown hair. The color in the bottle was burnt copper. I had shown my ex the bottle before dyeing Grace's hair, but as Grace's hair is very light, it turned more red than copper, as it said in the packet. I wasn't too worried, as the color would wash out and look more like the model, and Grace was delighted with her new hair. My ex came to pick her up and said Grace looked just like Ariel. While at his for the weekend, my ex got her to wash her hair, and he didn't tell me. I was furious. Grace was meant to use a color-safe shampoo, and her hair was washed just before she got her hair dyed to maximize the color of her hair. Her hair is now very faded and dull, and she came home and burst into tears. My ex said he didn't know that regular shampoo would cause the color to come out like that, but when I pressed him, he said he was taking Grace to his boss's barbecue, and he thought her hair was too distracting. He blames me for not saying her hair would be so bright, although it turned out like the reference pictures on the packet for platinum blonde. He claims he only looked at the hair color of the model in front, although her hair is less vibrant as she goes from brown to copper. I told him that it's his fault for approving it without checking all the details. Grace told me that she told my ex that she needed to use special shampoo from me, but my ex told her that his shampoo would be the same. I've re-dyed Grace's hair from what was left over in the packet, as she was so upset, and my ex is calling me the idiot for re-dyeing her hair, as I didn't get his permission. I don't think I'm in the wrong. Edit. My ex never washes Grace's hair. She hates the feeling of wet hair, and I struggle to get her to wash it. When we split, I took on the responsibility to wash her hair. I didn't use box dye on her. I dyed Grace's hair temporarily because she wanted it. It was a fun way for her to express herself, and it wasn't harming her or anyone else. Not the idiot. He said he was taking Grace to his boss's barbecue and thought her hair was too distracting. Too distracting for whom? Too distracting from what? Her father prioritized using her as a life prop and betrayed her trust and yours to do it. Now he's gaslighting you, making his mistake your responsibility. It's not a mistake. It's him choosing to go against the decision he agreed to without consulting you, and then blaming you. Based on the divorce, I bet this isn't the first time he's done this. It's distracting is the go-to BS excuse. Colored hair, distracting. Shoulders, distracting. Next, it'll be ankles. Is there any part of the custody agreement that details dyeing hair? I'm gonna guess no. It's not a medical procedure. Even in the case of a medical procedure, I would assume there only needs to be consent from one parent. It's only hair. She wanted it and loved it. I literally had the same obsession with Ariel and red hair. I was allowed to get it dyed red from golden blonde when I was 9. Never regretted it. Your ex has control issues. My wife and I just brought home our beautiful baby. When we got home, I wanted my older son to hold the baby. He's a teen. But my wife said no. She said she wasn't comfortable with anyone but us holding the baby yet. I wasn't happy about this, but I respect that as a mom, she's anxious about how vulnerable our baby is. So I let it go. Yesterday, her sister came over and wanted to hold the baby. I said no, that my wife and I aren't comfortable with anyone but us holding him yet. My wife then said it was fine, that her sister was a special case. I said no, that I wasn't comfortable with it. Her sister was offended and left. My wife is angry with me and says I was an idiot to her sister. I think I'm just being consistent. Was I an idiot to my sister-in-law? Edit. I think she's a good stepmom. She gives my son his space. We're all a little socially awkward in this family, truthfully. She says she doesn't know how to talk to teenagers. Not the idiot. Thank you for standing up for your son. He's a teen, not a toddler. She was uncomfortable the day before, but now it's fine with her sister? Your wife is a massive idiot. Don't let her start a rift between the siblings this early. Half siblings can love each other just as much as full siblings, but not if mom constantly pushes one away. Don't let her do this to your son. Sounds like your wife resents your son to some degree. It's not that people can't hold your baby. Your son can't. It's because he's not her kid. Dude, you need to really pay attention to what's going on between your wife and your son. This looks like a big red flag to me. You have a lengthy and unpleasant discussion coming up with your wife, so good luck with that. You aren't being consistent. You're being an idiot. It was pure revenge on your part. And please don't weaponize your child this early in their life. It sets a horrible precedent. Please do what's best for your child and not your own ego. Your wife clearly isn't as comfortable with the teen holding your baby as she is with her 32-year-old sister. There's a huge difference between a teenager holding a newborn and an adult holding a newborn. I've, nearly adult female, been working since I was 14 and have been saving most of my paychecks every week. I had around $9,000 saved up, and I'm saving up to get my own apartment when I'm older. Yesterday, my mom told me that she had to take out $5,000 to help a friend, and I asked when she'd pay me back. She seemed confused that I would expect her to do that. She went on a rant about how she bought groceries that I ate. I live in a house that she paid rent for, and a bunch of other things, and she had no intention of paying it back, and I was extremely selfish to expect her to. She claimed that the $5,000 she took from me isn't even close to how much she spent on me as a baby, and I have absolutely no right to want her to pay it back. The way I see it is that she basically stole over 2 years' worth of my life, since I was constantly working or at school, and I put myself through an absolute nightmare to earn it. If it were $10, $20, $50, or even $100, I'd be fine letting her keep it, since it's not that much. $5,000, however, is a significant amount of money and represents a chunk of my life. I essentially worked for nothing. Am I the idiot for expecting my money back? Not the idiot, in a big way. And once you're 18, get her off of your account. Honestly, I would withdraw the rest of my money in cash, hide it very well, or leave it with a trusted friend, and just use the bank account to cash your paychecks. I also grew up with toxic parents who threw the fact that they paid to raise me in my face. They're wrong. That's their responsibility, to feed and house you until the age of 18. Do not back down. Do not allow access to your money, and let her know you expect that money back, or you'll find a lawyer to take her to civil claims court. I'm not allowed to have a bank account. It's all in her safe. I didn't have a choice. She took it from the safe before telling me. And that $5,000 doesn't come close to the amount of therapy I'll need because of the crap I put up with growing up. Wow, she should not have your money in a safe only she accesses. This is insane. Given what you were saving for, your savings should be in a long-term savings account, earning as much interest as possible. That's completely unacceptable. Contact the local authorities and get your money out of her safe. You will never see a dime of that money if you don't. Do you have anywhere that you can stay where you're safe? Financial abuse is abuse. Even crazier is that she took it out for a friend. I'd even let that friend know where your mom got the money. However, I doubt you'll get that money back. Absolutely crazy for her to take money from your account without asking, And even more crazy for her to not pay you back. She's legally obligated to provide food, clothing, and shelter. I'm so sorry, OP. Not every parent deserves a child. I'm afraid the rest of your money and whatever is left of your relationship with your egg donor is gone. Since I, female 24, was in my late teens, I was into hiking and prepping. I'm not crazy into it on a conspirational level, but I like to have some in my bag or backpack, a few useful things. I carry everywhere my EDC, everyday carry set, which contains a first aid kit, food, protein bars, chocolate and dried meat, and water, a spare t-shirt and underwear, pepper spray. Spray is perfectly legal in my country, and a few other useful tools. It proved to be useful on many occasions, and I always make sure to resupply this set and have it around me. It's a habit now, and I feel really weird, almost naked without it. Recently, my family had a big gathering during a barbecue. It was the first gathering since I was a kid, so there were family members I barely knew or didn't know at all. Obviously, I had my bag with me, and it happened to be useful as one of the kids burned themselves, and I had a hydrogel dressing on me. Anyway, one of my cousins asked if I had a spare pad. I said, of course, here's my bag. It should be in the middle pocket. Well, apparently, she decided to rummage through my things instead of simply taking the pad. She saw my tools and freaked out. She basically started making a scene, accusing me that I probably wanted to attack someone or have other nefarious plans. It was enough for some older family members to be distraught. They sat a long way from us and understood only that someone was about to attack us, and chaos ensued. Eventually, it got under control, but the atmosphere was ruined. My cousin and some family members say I'm an idiot for bringing dangerous tools to a family gathering. They mostly have problems with my pepper spray, but say that all in all, my EDC is weird and freakish, and I shouldn't feel endangered in my own family. I don't feel in danger. I just like being prepared. My parents, who obviously know about my habit, aren't mad, but say that maybe I shouldn't carry my things among people, as it may upset them or make them feel afraid. Don't know if it's important, but my bag wasn't military style. It was a normal woman's bag, one you can easily spot on the street. Am I the idiot? How dare your cousin dig through all your things and actually have the audacity to judge you for it? They aren't dangerous tools. They're simply items that you keep for emergencies, and you were wise to do so. I'm not prepped in any way, but I keep the same type of items in my truck at all times because I'm a woman who drives in a lot of rural areas. You never know what you'll need if you're injured or stranded or attacked. You are not the idiot. What's the point of pepper spray if you can't carry it? You're supposed to always have it in case of an attack, which, as a woman, it's unfortunately necessary to be prepared for. I keep pepper spray on my keys. So do many other women. Being prepared is being responsible. I have to admit I chuckled a little when I read the contents of your bag, because the term EDC here in the US almost exclusively refers to other stuff. LMAO, imagine being offended by someone else's purse contents. Unreal. Your cousin was looking for a reason to be dramatic. Now that you know she does that BS for attention, stop giving her openings. She needs something from your bag. You get it for her. Or say, sorry, that's not in my kit. You should set up a kit of your own that includes it. Don't ever let anyone rummage in your bag or purse. Just not smart.